Okay, I realized I haven't recorded a video today, so let's go into my notes file and just put that down. Uh, what are we gonna talk about? Lose weight video. Okay, that seems reasonable. Um, so recently I've been trying to lose weight. I put on a bunch of weight. I've been putting on weight for a long time. Um, Probably my whole life, if you think about it. My whole life, since I was born to now, if you measure if you measure a curve on a graph, it follows a net upward trajectory. That's how it works, right? It's how you call gaining weight. So I want to go back down to like baby sized is the whole point. So I can then crawl back into my mum's vaginal passage and stay there forever. So I'm trying to lose weight. It's very hard for me to lose weight. I think it's very hard for everyone to lose weight. And I'm tired of people pretending that losing weight is in any way not just hell for anyone. Some people claim to really love running or really love working out or whatever. No one actually likes it. This is a fact. Especially the worst one is people who claim to really like eating healthily. No one likes eating healthily. Healthy food tastes like shit. They'll never admit this. Particularly the ones that will never admit this are the people who have made it part of their identity, who have joined the sort of health cult. They'll never admit to the fact that everything about their life is fucking awful. The longer you want to live and the happier you want your life to be, the more suffering you have to subject yourself to. Whereas if you want to live a shit and short life, then you get to live a life with little suffering as well. So that's how that works. Self-subjective suffering, I'll say, by the way, rather than just overall suffering, because you never know. But self-subjected suffering, all things that are good for you involve subjecting yourself to suffering. Anything, the more suffering you subject yourself to, the better it is for you. And as soon as that suffering stops becoming suffering, it also stops being good for you. So, for example, trying to eat smaller portions or more healthy food and do more exercise to lose weight, that's suffering and also healthy for you. But as soon as you become really into that to the point where you're obsessive about it and you can't stop thinking about it, then you're anorexic and it's no longer healthy for you. Or maybe you like running, but as soon as you start becoming a marathon runner, your knees are going to be fucked by the time you're 40 and it's no longer good for you, etc., etc. So, it's very hard for me to lose weight for a variety of reasons. Firstly, I just suck at forcing myself. Well, not really. Actually, I'm slowly getting better at forcing myself to suffer, but it's making lots of individual decisions where the outcome of each individual decision is very minor. So the outcome of like one day deciding to eat a smaller portion for one meal is almost nothing. Only making that decision every single time you have that decision for a year might make a difference. Might. And even then, it's only a pretty slight difference. It'll be noticeable, but it's a relatively small difference. Um, so these sorts of psychological things are quite difficult for me. Um, I've always sucked at them. Not just with losing weight, but with everything that's that type of thing, where it's like something you have to continuously work at, but not really hard work. Mostly like quite small individual decisions over a really long period of time that you just have to be consistent with. I've kind of sucked at that. When the decisions make your life harder and more shit, not even harder, just more shit, because you don't get to eat nice food, and every day you have to fucking go outside and do exercise when it's way too fucking hot, and there's fucking people out there and fucking screaming babies everywhere I go, screaming fucking babies. It's just impossible to make that decision. Well, it's not. I've been doing it, but it sucks. I hate it. Um, Sometimes I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. But that's part one of why it's difficult for me to lose weight. It's also why it's difficult for everyone to lose weight. Because losing weight just sucks. Being healthy in the modern era sucks. Because having to be healthy should never be an option for humans. You know, no other animal is in an environment is born into an environment, unless except in very rare cases, no other animal is born into an environment where they're not automatically healthy. You know, a tiger living in the fucking wild is not going to get unhealthy normally unless they get sick or can't find food or anything. But like, you know, successfully living, not dying of sickness and whatever, is going to be healthy. Whereas you can be successfully living here and, you know, be obese and whatever. So that sucks, being human. That's something that sucks. But it's also especially hard for me for a few reasons. Firstly, um, I'm very susceptible to low blood sugar. Like when I get low blood sugar, it just ruins me. Like I completely lose energy. My brain slows down to a chug. My like I think it's because I'm really tall. Uh, yeah, my like I get depressed. I feel sick. Like it's just awful. Sometimes I start sweating. Like this is just from low blood sugar from not eating for like 5 hours. If I don't eat for like 5 hours, I start to get these symptoms. Sometimes I like start sweating, start getting like a fever, just from low blood sugar. And you know, well, okay, maybe not a fever, but I get fucked. Like I feel like shit. I can't move. I feel like shit. I can't focus on anything. It sucks. And so it's hard to convince myself not to eat when I'm in that sort of situation because I'm like, I could get up and walk 5 feet to the fridge and there is many options which would solve this problem for me right now, and that would make me feel not bad. But if I continue to subject myself to this suffering, I get to wake up tomorrow and do it all again forever for the rest of my life. Sucks. Um, I also don't really like healthy food very much. I mean, no, that's not true. I like reasonably healthy food. I don't like unreasonably healthy food. I actually love reasonably healthy food. I don't like food that's very greasy or very salty. I don't like, you know, a lot of fast food I find to be mediocre. I don't like McDonald's, for example, or all of the major cheap fast food burger places I've never liked. Five Guys is pretty good, but you know, that's expensive, so that's already I almost never have it. But you know, the cheap fast food places I have never really liked. Don't like crisps that much. Don't like, you know, I don't snack. Most snacks aren't very appealing to me. I don't really like cake. Not like super into desserts in general. I mean, you know, I'm not crazy about it. Uh, yeah, I don't eat much ice cream. Don't drink fizzy drinks. You know, like sodas and stuff. I don't drink those. I just drink water. Like a lot of these things are not appealing to me anyway, and a lot of the stuff I like is generally quite healthy. So like I actually really like a lot of vegetables. I like broccoli. I like Brussels sprouts. I like cabbage. I like cauliflower. I like lettuce. You know, in a sandwich or whatever. Like you gotta have lettuce. Um, I like loads of vegetables. I am pretty big into vegetables actually, and the problem is that I also like meat a lot and butter a lot. A lot. I love butter. I put a lot of butter in everything. But also, I just eat too much. Like, my portion sizes suck. And part of that is living with my mum. So I cook most of my own meals. But firstly, it wasn't always like that, obviously, when you're younger. But my mum is really into cooking. And so she just likes to cook for me. Which is great because she's a great cook. But she's never quite figured out portion sizes. And so I have to like be careful not to eat too much when she serves me. But she doesn't cook that much these days, and so it's mostly on me. I like cheese a lot as well. So the biggest problem is cheese and butter. I just love cheese and I love butter. And also, like, if you ever wondered why food at a restaurant tastes better than food at home, it's because they put loads of butter in everything. Like French restaurants, if you could see the amount of butter they were putting in your food, they put a shit ton of butter in everything. I also really love olive oil. Like I just love the taste of olive oil. It's delicious. Like a nice olive oil. Right now, I have four different brands of olive oil in my kitchen for four different purposes, ranging in levels of. I have like the cheapest olive oil, which is already good quality extra virgin olive oil for everyday cooking. Then I have slightly fancier olive oil, which is for like putting in something where you actually want it, not just using as a regular oil to fry something in. But I have slightly fancier olive oil, which is to use. Yeah, I'm very middle class, by the way. Slightly fancier olive oil, which is for things that where the olive oil is part of the taste factor. So a lot of times when I'm making sauces, I'll put some of the slightly fancier olive oil, or mushrooms, because the mushrooms will absorb the flavor of the oil. I use that. Then I have fancier than that olive oil for things where I really want to up the game. So that will be like a finishing type of situation. So like after you finish cooking a meal, you want to put a drizzle of olive oil on it. That's when you use that, maybe in a tomato soup or in a pasta or anything like that. And then finally, I have a super, super fancy olive oil, which I just, well, actually, my mum bought it just a few days ago. And that's like really good. And that's just for dipping bread into, in the very rare occasion when I want to dip bread into olive oil and some balsamic vinegar. That's what that olive oil is for, because that's like delicious, but also very expensive. I have 4 different types of olive oil in my house. That's the most middle class sentence I've ever said in my life. Wow. Interesting. Anyway, but yeah, I put a bunch of butter when I cook because it makes things taste better, and it's very difficult. And it also helps like physically with cooking because like things don't stick to the pan, and it's very fucking annoying when things stick to the pan. And half of my non-stick, my mum also has never quite figured out not to use metal things on a non-stick pan, so all my non-stick pans are fucked. You see, it's the opposite. Normally, it's people's mums who tell them off for using a fork on a non-stick pan. I am the one that in this household I never do that. But my mum uses metal shit on non-stick pans all the fucking time and just has no care for non-stick material at all. And so all of our pans are fucked. So I have to use quite a lot of butter just so shit doesn't stick to them, um, which is annoying, but also makes it delicious, which is the fucking problem. Uh, but the other thing is, it's I don't know, it's hard for me to convince myself to stop eating. Like, I heard that it takes like a few minutes for the signal to go from your stomach to your brain to tell you that you're full. I'm pretty sure that's accurate because, like, sometimes I'll eat a bunch and while I'm eating, I don't feel full. But then after I stop eating, I feel really full. Like, maybe 5 minutes after, it suddenly all hits me and I'm like, oh shit, I ate too much. But I don't realize while I'm eating. And that's quite difficult. Maybe that's a normal thing. I don't know if that's a unique thing to me. But I find that hard to convince myself to stop before I'm full. But then after I actually manage it, I do feel a bit better after that because being overly full is never a good feeling. Um, Mostly the problem here is actually got very little to do with food. I actually generally, although I've been saying I use a lot of butter and I have 4 different types of olive oil, um, I don't use unreasonable. Like I use fairly large amounts, but not like to a French person, I use a reasonable amount of olive oil, and I never use unhealthy oils and fats and stuff in my food. I only use pretty much olive oil and butter for everything if I need to put a fat in it. Um, yeah, and I don't eat crazy unhealthy shit all the time. Like I don't eat that much bacon. I don't eat. I mean, I do eat. Okay, one of the other problems is I fucking love pizza so much. Pizza is my favorite thing ever, and I'll just always eat pizza. Um, but I've cut down on my pizza significantly, which is a good thing. So that's good. But I think the biggest problem is really that I'm like kind of a hickey. I mean, I don't know if I can call myself a hickey. People get very upset if. But you went outside last Tuesday to take the rubbish out and to get some fucking water from the fucking town well. You're not a hikikomori. You said you're not a hikikomori. You looked out. I saw you 2 days ago. You looked out of the window. You're not a real hikikomori. People get very pissy like that. So I don't know if I should call myself a hiki, but I don't go outside very much, or I don't like going outside very much. I have a very, very inactive lifestyle. All of my hobbies involve being indoors with a computer in this very spot. Um, so I've started going for walks. I go for an hour walk around the park. Not every day, but once in a while. As in, like, maybe 4 or 5 times a week. Why is it? It's so strange. No one ever messages me or anything. No one ever does anything to me. Everyone ignores me all the time. As soon as I start recording, everyone messages me, and I always forget to turn my phone on silent before I record. But yeah, I hate walking. I hate running. Firstly, I can't run because I have flat feet, and so running is like really bad. Like it's very painful. Hold on a second. Where was I? So yeah, I have flat feet, which if you don't know, that it means my arches, like, you know how feet, they're kind of like this, like they can't arch on them. My arches aren't very strong. They're very weak, and like, so that gives me a lot of problems. Um, so like, for example, yeah, running. If you ever see me running, um, I kind of like lurch. Like it means that I have a lot of impact when my feet hit the ground. Like there's nothing I can do about it. It's very impact when my feet hit the ground when I'm walking or running, and yeah, that sucks. It also makes my ankles more vulnerable because if you think about it, your feet is like supposed to be like this, and so imagine your ankles going straight up when your foot's like this. If your foot is flatter to the ground, then that ankle is actually now kind of bent at an angle slightly, and that means my ankles get fucked more easily as well. And I don't have a bike, so I can't do that, and there's no way I can convince myself to go to the gym every day, because that would be just too much effort to convince myself to do. And also, gym memberships are expensive. I've tried calisthenics in my room, but I have a very small room, as you can see. And also, it's easier to go walking in the park because, like, it's like I'm doing it, going somewhere to do something is easier to convince myself than just, like, get up off your ass and just do 100 squats or whatever. Although I do that occasionally, not with any regularity. In the winter, I'll probably start more seriously. But right now, I'm doing walks, especially because I'm incredibly unfit because I haven't done any exercise for 3 years or more. Probably more. I've been almost doing no exercise, so I'm incredibly unfit. And so walking is pretty much the best I can manage. So I walk around the park for like an hour. We're listening to a podcast, and it's actually pretty enjoyable right now while it's summer. Now, when it's winter, it is not going to be enjoyable, and so I'm trying to lose as much weight as possible right now before winter comes. The problem is that I can't go. I used to when I first started. I was going walking every day, and I developed chronic ankle pain from that. That was so bad that I couldn't walk, and I had to take a break. I got tendonitis, and I had to rest my ankles for like 3 weeks. And so 3 weeks went by with me doing barely any exercise again, and now I'm just getting back into it, and my ankles are starting to hurt again. So I'm trying to take a few days off. Hopefully it'll get better. In those few days. But that sucks because I'll be doing very little exercise for 3 days. So I'm gonna try and convince myself to do exercises in my room. I did some today. But yeah, losing weight is difficult for all of these reasons. What else is another reason? I feel like I had something else I was gonna say. I'm just a hikikomori and I hate going outside, and it's the scariest thing that you could possibly imagine. Okay, I'm not a hikikomori, you know. I'm a shut-in. I don't like going outside. That's all I need to say. I don't think doesn't need a name for it. I just don't like going outside, and that sucks. Well, it doesn't suck. I like it here, but it sucks for my belly. Sucks for that. My hair's looking good today, so that's nice. What else was I gonna say? I swear there was one more thing that I was like, this is why it's hard for me to do things. I don't realize I'm hungry until too late, and then when I realize I'm hungry, I realize I'm like extremely hungry, so I always want to make something quick. And quick things tend to be unhealthy things, like frying. Frying is the fastest method of cooking, and also the most, other than deep frying, one of the most unhealthy, which is why I just bought a rice cooker. So now I can just have rice pretty much whenever I want, which should hopefully alleviate that problem. Rice cookers are actually cheap as fuck. Get yourself a rice cooker. They're not as expensive as you think they are, and rice is very cheap as well. I don't eat brown rice though. I'm not that desperate. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I should be doing to get better at this. Maybe more fasting. I suppose the answer is simple. You just eat less and exercise more. What should I be doing to get better? Eat less and exercise more. That's the obvious answer. Eat less fried food. Don't cook things in as much oil and butter. but mostly just eat smaller portions with fewer calories. Oh yeah, the other thing is it's hard for me to count calories because I cook everything from scratch pretty much. You know, I don't buy prepackaged food and stuff, and I don't go out to eat almost ever. So everything's from scratch. So it's a big effort to actually count calories in something I'm making. Um, Maybe I should start doing it though. Weigh everything and count the calories that way. But yeah, I don't know. It just sucks. It just sucks having to lose weight. You're not designed to ever have to lose weight on purpose. Your brain is not designed to give you rewards for that. You have to trick yourself somehow. And I've never figured out a good way to trick myself into feeling rewards for like exercising and eating healthily. I just feel like shit every time I do it. I need to find a good way to trick myself into doing it. I don't know. I don't know. I kind of like. I want to just do OMAD, which is 1 meal a day. That would be fairly effective, but the problem is my low blood sugar stuff. So I would just be depressed and I wouldn't be able to do anything. I literally would be. I wouldn't be able to make these videos even. I can't record stuff when I'm hungry. I can't even think straight. Um, it didn't used to be like this. I used to be fair. I don't know what happened to me. I used to be fair. Firstly, I used to only eat 2 meals a day for like years. I only ate 2 meals a day, and I was fine. And then I started eating 3 meals because I had time, and I also started watching cooking content on YouTube. So I got more interested in actually cooking well, because previously when I cooked, I would make something that was edible, but and fine, but not delicious. Whereas now I'm pretty decent at cooking, and so I actually get excited to eat the stuff I make. And even cooking itself is quite a fun activity for me these days. So there's, the motivations are different is what I'm trying to say. I never cook just because I want to cook, because I think it's fun, but when I do cook, it's not a horrendous strain on me. And when I do eat what I cook, I genuinely enjoy it. So that, that sort of thing. And yeah, so that's a difference, I think. But I don't know. I think I just started eating 3 meals at some point, and ever since then, I did that for a while, and then at a certain point, I was like, okay, I'm putting on weight. Let's go back to two, and it was really difficult to go back to two. Um, so I guess maybe my gut biome has changed in some way that now they expect the little fellas down there expect more food than they should be. Who knows? I'm trying to go back to two right now, but it's difficult. Smaller portions and going down to 2 meals a day and doing an hour walk, because apparently a brisk walk is just as good as a run. I don't know if that's true, but I've heard that. Also, I cut out beer. Well, I didn't, but I am now. No more beer for me. Uh, so yeah, I've cut out beer from my diet, um, which has a lot of calories in it, of course. And that's it. So yeah, that's this video about why losing weight sucks. And I don't want any tips. I don't want anyone to tell me to do fucking keto or um, keto is the stupidest shit. I'm gonna steal a bit. From a comedian. I don't remember what comedian it was that said this, but I'm just gonna steal their bit because I think it's very accurate. People who do keto or Atkins diet or all these similar things, they say like, keto's great because you can just eat whatever you want as long as it doesn't have carbs in it. So it doesn't have carbs in it. Carbs is one of the 3 major types of foods. That's a third of all food that you can't eat. That's not you can eat whatever you want. That's like the exact opposite of being able to eat whatever you want. There you go. That's my bit that I stole from that comedian. I probably delivered that extremely poorly, but that's basically the point, is that keto food is just as disgusting as eating salad for every meal. It sucks. I would probably rather eat salad for every meal. Maybe not, I don't know. And also keto comes with like a bunch of other problems. But that's, if people are into keto, and maybe one day I'll actually do it, so I don't want to talk shit about it too much. But I'm just going to try and there's no trickery. When it comes to losing weight, anyone who tells you there's an easy way to do it is probably lying. I'm just going to fucking eat less and exercise more. That's all you need to do. I'm just a fucking pussy bitch who finds hard things hard. Oh, I find hard things hard. What a surprise. Great video, no thank you.